Hello, welcome to the stream yet again. If you are new here, my name's Jared. I am a Rubyist, and I run an agency called Super Good Software, where we build e-commerce websites, storefronts for all kinds of different brands using a Ruby on Rails and a framework called Solidus that's built on top of it. Today, we are not doing that, though starting in the new year, we'll be getting back to some of that. Today, sort of just doing a fun stream, which I think I'm going to continue into the new year, probably on Monday nights. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a roguelike in Ruby. Something I've played around with before, building roguelikes in Ruby, building them in the browser. I have an affinity for roguelikes. I think it's just a fun genre of games, so I'm going to be getting back to that, and I think it just offers some fun opportunities to do some weird stuff with Ruby and practice my mini test and all kinds of stuff. So I think it's just going to be a fun sort of outlet stream to show off all the fun things you can do with Ruby. I was exploring using this project the other day, trying to figure out how I could best exploit Ruby's ability to redefine like the indexing operators, square brackets, like you'd index into a hash or an array. I was trying to see what you could put in there, whether it works with keyword arguments and stuff like that. And it's pretty permissive, though. There are some things that will make nothing work if you do them, if you define that method in certain ways. But yeah, we're going to do some fun stuff like that. Also in the new year, I'm going to be getting back to doing Solidus streams. My Solidus streams will probably be, they're going to be Friday mornings. I think they're going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific, so that they no longer conflict with the meetups that we do once a month. And I'll be kicking those off, going over recent changes that I've made into Solidus, what's going on, and then we're going to probably build a store or build some more extensions, or sort of just follow along with what I was previously doing. Hello there. Welcome, Velor and Jay. I also discovered that I was not in low latency mode for the entire run of my Advent of Code problems. So sorry to chat that I was not as responsive as I could have been. I have fixed that now, so I am in low latency mode. So you will see things nice and quick here. I don't know that I can guess. Oh. Okay, that goes back a little while. Whew. Yeah, I'm... No, all good. That's a name I recognize, but it's been a while. This is just a fun stream anyway to get started on this stuff. It's super weird. Oh. I see. Sorry, I understand now. Well, hello there. It is good to see you. Where was I? So, I don't think I have anything else to say. Yeah, we're doing Solidus streams in the new year. We'll do those on Fridays. Do these ones on Mondays just for some fun stuff. And yeah. So, without further ado, I'm going to pop into the code and sort of bring y'all up to speed. Where we're sort of at is I haven't really started writing any tests, haven't started doing too much here. If you run this thing it prints an @ symbol in the corner that moves 3 tiles and then exits. What I have done, largely all this does is how did I do? So I implemented this sort of this API on top of curses. So we're initializing the terminal using curses, enabling color. We disable the cursor. We disable the feature of terminals that they print out what you type into them, because we don't want our player's input being typed over what we're typing. We set the default colors. I've defined these up here as 255 for the foreground and 16 for the background. If you are familiar with, if you somehow know your 256 color terminal codes, you'll know that is just black and white. In fact, I previously had a reference up, but I don't anymore. I'm sure that will come in handy. Sorry, I was just publishing a version of this gem because I had not pushed it to Ruby Gems, and I did not want to do a stream where I had not reserved the gem name. So you can technically gem install what we have right now. If you gem install, I'm calling this Good Luck Wizard. So if you gem install Good Luck Wizard with underscores, you too can see that @ symbol move 3 spots and then quit. Really fun. But where was I? So yes, we set up the default colors for the terminal using curses, and then this code just yields a new instance of this class. The class itself implements currently just 2 methods: a set method, which assuming it's not the it's for like setting a given cell in the terminal to be a particular color, foreground, background, as well as character. It does what it does for us is that it basically, I'm keeping track of all of the things I want to change on the screen. So if you set something to the value it already is, it doesn't do anything. And then this refresh code, it's rudimentary right now. I'll probably do something slightly better because I'm trying to like sort of outsmart curses to try and make my terminal updates as fast as they can be. But I haven't really started that. I did it for a previous project. So I have to go steal some code. But essentially we just take all of that, we apply those changes to the terminal itself, and then we tell curses to redraw everything. What was I going to say? I don't think I have anything more to say about that. I'm basically trying to just make this whole handling of the screen be sort of like a reasonable API, because curses sucks. I don't know if you've used curses, but I'm going to have to do a bunch of stuff around, for example, managing color pairs. I haven't actually, none of this actually handles colors yet, even though I accept them as arguments into this method, optional arguments. The way curses works is that you have color pairs, and when you're printing to the screen, you have to select which color pair you're using, and that's a foreground and a background. So if we're using the full 256 color space, or, well, I'm not going to use the whole 256 color space. I'll use, I'll not use the first 16 colors, because those are the ones people usually customize, and you can kind of rely on the remaining 240 colors being reasonable or like reasonably consistent. I don't know if they're actually consistent across most emulators, but I assume most people just use Xterm colors. So, we've got 240 colors. 240 times 240 is going to be a number that's up around 60,000. Yeah, 57,000. So hypothetically, we might need 57,000 color pairs to represent every possible combination. Obviously, or not obviously, I don't want to initialize all of those myself manually. Oh yeah, I've got like YouTube /Twitch safe ambient tunes going. Homeworld, yeah, that's like, I was just talking about that game the other day too. So I don't want to manage all of those color pairs because that sounds painful manually. So what I'll likely want to do is sort of keep track of them. They're numeric, they're associated with a number. So I'll keep track of the ones I've set, and every time I need a new pair, I'll create it and have like a hash so I can look up the numeric key for any combination or generate it as and initialize it as needed. That was a whole bunch of stuff. Thanks, Wheeler. Have a lovely trip to the store. For this stream, I think what I want to do is just like render a bunch of garbage to the screen instead of what I'm printing now. Just like print some semi-random symbols and stuff, and just make sure everything's working. I'm not going to use any of the actual curses stuff for the UI. I'm going to do all the UI my stuff manually myself just for fun. And then after that, I kind of want to rush to getting just like the basics of a playable game and then sort of iterate from there. But one of the other fun things I want to do is I want to implement a pseudo random number generator. Probably XOR offset, because that's fast and simple enough that I can understand it. I'm sure that I could muddle my way through Mersenne twisters or something, but I don't want to. I want this to be fun stuff to work on. And muddling my way through pseudo random number generator algorithms doesn't sound particularly fun when there's a relatively simple one that will work. And it's not like, for the purposes of this, I'm currently worried about anyone exploiting it, or, this isn't a real application. This is, or not in any meaningful sense. The consequences of people cheating at the game are that they cheat at the game. There's no, you want to ruin your fun, you can ruin your fun by, making a spreadsheet of loot drop locations to try and reverse engineer the seed you're on or something like that. Plus, you can play with whatever seed you want. So, like the advent of code streams, I'm also have got a little whiskey here. Today, this is Sexton Single Malt, which is a Irish whiskey. It's kind of nice. So I guess we got to write some code. So the way I'm sort of doing this, let's hop over to our sort of main game loop right now, is that essentially all of that terminal magic is wrapped up in this API where I expose a block, which I pass the terminal object, which I've just called T here, and then I call things on it. In this case, I'm drawing an @ symbol, refreshing the display, sleeping, erasing that @ symbol, which I need to come up with a better API because I'm not going to manually go erase every character I need to erase. I'll be doing something smarter than that. Set the new position, refresh, sleep, and do that one more time. The reason I do it with a block like this rather than just creating a new terminal object is because I need to make sure that we clean things up. If this thing segfaults or which should be unlikely, I don't know why it would segfault, or I don't know, exits without the ensure block that's hiding in there getting called, then it will leave the terminal in a messy state. And when I get back to Vim, it will probably not work very well. I guess I want to make sure that nothing outside of this this class actually has to interact with curses. I really want to hide all of the curses in here and just not let anyone touch curses elsewhere in the application. Partially because curses is bad, and I don't want its badness to leak out. Well, I don't want to say curses is bad. Curses has some quirks. For example, if you want to treat the all of the methods take row then column, which is if you're treating things as XY coordinates backwards. So I'm using like keyword arguments here, so that when I actually have to go do things, like, yeah, see, called the window.set position takes the coordinates, which are XY pairs, and reverses them. I want that kind of knowledge that there are things have to be swapped and things like that to just all live in this class, and nothing else to think about it. But what I do need, if I'm just going to draw a bunch of random stuff on the screen, is I'm going to need to be able to get the width and the height of everything of this console, and I believe I can call curses. Now I have a window object. I don't know what that exposes. One of the things that's a little tricky, and I might shift the architecture of this application or this game later, is I can't binding.pry because pry being the really fantastic Ruby debugger, because I can't, because I'm already in curses, I've already initialized curses. The terminal's not in a state where I can just like hand over input to my debugger. And I think there's ways to do it remotely, but I'm not going to figure out how to do that. Here. However, I did set up bindings so that I can quickly open a console. Excellent. Lines and calls. Cool. So columns is the width of this guy, and lines is the height. Ooh, we're typing real good today. There we go. So that's that. And then I wish I had like a weighted random and stuff out of the box. I'm going to be like, one of the things about implementing the random number generator is I'm going to need to implement an API on top of it to do all of the useful stuff that you would need to do, like sampling from an array or rolling dice. I may want to model certain things as dice, so I want to be able to say, you know, roll 2d6 or something like that. And I also need to just generate numbers, and I'm going to need to have multiple generators because I don't want like I would like the levels of the dungeon, or whatever we want to call it. It's not really a dungeon, but we'll get into that later, to be generated consistently given a certain seed, and not have like the number of times you've done random combat using the same random number generator as the level generator, so that, you know, I want you to be able to play the same seed multiple times and expect things to be, assuming you take the same path, to be reasonably similar. That's all getting way ahead of myself though. Okay, so oh, and the other thing to note, just as we're getting up to speed, so that I've said it at some point on this series of streams, we are using Zeitwerk, which is why you'll find I'm not requiring things everywhere. In fact, I probably don't even need to require the version there. The fantastic Zeitwerk loader gets you the same kind of auto loading that you get in Rails, in modern Rails, not in previous versions, and you can use it in any kind of application. So as long as you follow some rules, or tell it about your own special rules, like acronyms, because it will interpret that as a word and would otherwise try and auto-load that constant. Yeah, real neat. So t dot width, there's a good question for us. Does this pass the it does, okay. I feel like maybe it didn't in previous versions, but I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up. So this is the width, so this is Y, so I should, oh, no, what am I talking about? Width is X, jeez. So we are going to randomly let's just leave those there for a sec. Oh, and I want it to randomize every time. Thanks, Jason. I have done a little bit of streaming off and on over the past year or something, but not very much. And then for the advent of code last month, or this month still, time's all messed up. Earlier this month, I did all of the advent of code puzzles on stream. Those are all, you can see them on my YouTube. I'm Super Good Jared on YouTube as well. And yeah, I thought I'd keep this going, do some roguelike development, and then also do some Rails and Solidus stuff, because that's what I specialize in. So yeah. Now we can guess we don't need any of this, and so that's just gonna should draw ats on the whole screen. Nice, that worked. Now we can do something more fun. I don't know, Ruby, I don't remember what's the, do we just call rand with a range? A rand gets that, so we can get integers. Maybe that's next, unless rand 0 to 10 equals 0. Okay, so 1 in every 10 gets filled in. I'm just gonna add a slightly longer sleep. Okay. And then let's put in fact, let's, we'll use that sigil, which interprets what we're typing here as words. So we can just put some symbols that we would expect to find. Some goblins, I don't know. Maybe, what's another good roguelike symbol? Plus? Sure. We need equals if we're gonna do plus too. All right, yeah, so we can render junk across the screen. Now the next thing is handling input. And that's something I've never actually seriously built anything with curses, so I have no idea what I'm doing. This is Python code, but the API should be pretty much the same. Now I can just like get characters outside of if window.getch. I find this to be a really obscene abbreviation, because it looks like the word fetch, but the ch isn't a ch, it's character. So how am I supposed to say that? This is like streamer problems. Getk. I'm calling it getch. Does not have to be in the ASCII range. That's fair. There's also a get key. That's interesting. But I don't have a So we probably want to loop in here. And we're gonna like do this junk to draw a bunch of garbage. And this, but instead of sleeping, we want to call that method. But well, I guess I had it open in the other thing over here. So let's call it getch, and it will just for now. In fact, since it's just calling through, I'll put it down there. Okay. So now I can call window.getch. I don't really know what I'm getting from that. So I'm gonna just break the terminal and try and puts that. And that did not work. That was supposed to be T, not window. Okay, that is working. I don't, of course it's not actually, something just looked like the screen got bumped down. I don't know what that was about. Now. Okay, didn't like that because X went out of scope. Oh, that was what I pressed. Okay, well that's handy. So we can now do break if t dot get the next character is a Q. Fancy. And now if I press other characters, it continues to fill up the screen with garbage. That is nice, and if I hit Q, it exits cleanly. Okay, now, let's say 1 in every 10 tiles, else one of the nice things about the API I came up with is that I can try and put the same, I can overwrite things, and there's no, there should be no real performance penalty. It should not cause extra writing to the terminal. Yes, and I can see. Interesting. Okay, so that's working. I'm just going to commit this. At some point, I'm going to have to start writing tests, or I'm not going to have to, but I'm going to want to. But when dealing with I/O, it's just not as fun. Like, am I going to like mock out the curses API and dependency inject it, or I don't know, something like that. We'll see. I will probably do something at some point. But for now, it's good. Render random junk. Also, this project is not currently open source, but I will open source it. It will go on my GitHub. It is currently private, but no reason for it to be. So that works. That's nice. What should we do now? Did I have a plan beyond this? I don't know that I did. What should we do? What should we do, Chad? I feel like we're... Do I want to do Rosetta code? What did I say? XOR shift? Whatever it's called? XOR shift star? Yeah, that sounds roughly correct. So, what, no Ruby, so what language do we know the best? Can read C. Can't really, I've never tried to read F#. Python's fine. Python's fine. Okay. Ooh, it generates a bunch of, I like this. I like this because this output, given the same, constants, will produce those things. So I can actually write tests for that. So let's write a random number generator, or copy this one from Python, from Rosetta code. So we need to decide what we're going to call this. I'm going to say this is just going to be called random. This thing is stateful. So we will have to make it a class, and let's write some tests. I don't know that we have any tests yet. Doesn't look like it. This will be a random test. B. We are using mini test. Mini test is nice. Has a nice simple. Right, folder doesn't exist yet. Has a nice API. We just write test something, or type it as text and wonder why our specs aren't running, and it just runs all of those as your tests. So we can say test generating random numbers, sure, and we will create a new one of these things. We want to initialize it with a seed, which is handy. And then I guess we're just going to call the methods are just going to be what you're requesting, I guess. Won't worry about it too much now, but these are our expected outputs. So I can quickly do assert equal and sure. So that should fail. Oh, that didn't run my tests. I do have a binding for that setup. Yes, I do. And things exploded. Uninitialized constant mini test. Huh? Uninitialized constant mini test. Why would that be happening? Because I'm not requiring test helper? Should be trying to run all of the tests, I think, but oh no, there we go. Perfect. All right. So then it said uninitialized constant, GLW random. But I have a constant right here called GLW random, which is interesting. Suggests my code loading is not working, but I'm pretty sure if the other code is working, then... Oh, right. Ha! That is funny. So what's happening here is that I am using Zitework, but in my test environment, I'm not turning it on. Our main loop here initializes Zitework explicitly, but this is never called when preparing to run our tests, which we do need it to. So I'm gonna have to say, just for safety's sake, I am going to wrap this in a little check here, just so that we don't try to load it multiple times. I don't know what would even happen if we did that. But that should be fine. And then in our test helper, let's we require GLW, and then we're going to enable site work. Or what was it? Setup site work? Initialize site work. Got there eventually. Okay. Now I suspect this should work. Okay. Wrong number of arguments. I don't really like the output of the test, the rake test runner. Command failed with status, all that junk. I'd rather just print me my test results. But it's not a fun problem to fix on here. So initialize this thing with a seed. We will presumably need the seed, but let's just. Oh, I'm going to do that a lot. It was my key binding to run everything for for advent of code, so I'm going to hit it again. Undefined method integer. So we'll add ourselves an integer method, and now we see that it's actually nil. And if we want to really continue sliming, we could return nil, and that'll be the easiest way to get the next test to pass. But unfortunately, we can't scum any harder than that. So we have a few constants. I'm going to model these as constants. I find it funny this one is called const. I would like to find a better name for that. But I'll do that at a later time. So those, I think that all works. And then we have a state, which is going to be our seed. We'll call that at state. That's right. Remembering how to type, and don't have lowercase numbers. So this. Okay, so it provides an extra. Nice. Okay. Whoops, that's not where I want that to go. I want that to go in here. And then we just got to convert this misindented because I didn't enable paste mode. Okay, so first of all, I'm one of those people that likes to not reference instance variables inside of my non-constructor methods, just to avoid mistakes. Since you can typo an instance variable, I could write, stale by an accident, and that would just be nil, and then I'd have problems. Something your test should pass, catch, but I don't know. I like it. So these need to be capitalized. Extra state there. Should be an adder accessor because we need to assign to it as well, not just read from it. This is hilarious. A little simplification we can do since we are not in need of explicit returns. Does Python need explicit returns? I haven't written Python in so long. Okay. I did it again. Okay, do over. Run the test this time. And we're passing. All right. So we just implemented the integer portion of this nice what is this other code doing? It's doing something with the next float code. But, I mean, we're going to want floats too, so. I don't actually know what it's going to output after this. Equal 3 r dot float. And that's going to be a problem. I'm going to need to stop doing that. So I did 3 actual 0. Intriguing. Okay, so that's not working as intended. I suspect... Oh, that might work. One of these numbers needs to be a float if I'm going to get a float out. Yeah, there we go. Some reason Tmux mouse mode is on, but this is a remote machine, so it can't access my clipboard. All right. I can only assume that's right. I'm gonna add just a sort of a couple, just to have tests for this. I know that writing tests that just test what the code actually does is not ideal, but that's fine. It's not like I am expected to. I mean, they're pseudo-random results. I have no way of knowing whether these are right, other than that they're producing correct-looking values. Now, one thing I was curious about is, do other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Do the other ones seed it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? And do they use the same constant? So they 12, 25, 27 for the shifting, and 32, yeah. Mask 32, yeah, that's the same thing. What about the const? Where's the const used again? We use that. Where do we use that? Oh, right here. And that is 254. Now I know, so I know that if you select not good numbers for doing this, you can have results that do not look as random as you might want. I don't really care. All right, I'm not going to leave all these tests in there. That's going to change the result, though. I can't do that. Good. Whew, close call. So if I remove those, I should get different results, which is good. Very good. Very good. I guess we should commit this change. Create fancy new random number generator. And I guess the next thing I want to be able to do is sample with it, right? So how do you sample from a collection? You need a number that's, so we need an integer. We can just do some modulo math with the length to get, yeah, so we can do collection, and then we do integer percent collection length. I think that works. So we're going to make an array that contains foo, bar, baz. And we're going to create a new random number generator. And we are going to assert that r.sample c is equal to one of these. Let's see how many streams it takes me before I get out of this habit of typing leader r. So this is interesting. I would expect this to eventually fail. Which one did it fail on? The third one? Expected actual, no. So it actually samples at least 3 in a row of the first one. 28. That's, as long as it shows it sampling all of them, I'm gonna assume it works. I'm gonna give, add collection sampling to random, cool. Thank you, Hoff. That's good stuff. All right, so now we got random numbers. I guess we can go use our random numbers in here. Okay, so we'll generate a new random number generator. Rather than using a sample here, we will do r.sample. And we can do r.float is less than 0.1. Hey, that actually works. And one of the more fun parts is that it should work the same every time. So let's see. We get a G and then a space, a G, 2 spaces and an at, and then a bunch of space and then a plus. And if we do it again, we get the same thing and the same thing. Yes, repeatability. That's awesome. That will come in very handy at building this. I'm going to try and make it so seeds play very, very similarly. I'm going with a mechanic where every time you jump to a new level, you cannot go back. There, you can only go. Each level is going to have a bunch of sort of we'll call them portals for now, where you can jump to the next level. And so, I want the levels that you jump to. If you take the same portals, I want you to always get the same levels if you're playing with the same seed. Certain aspects of them might be altered, but I want to kind of like, I want it to be at least like the same generating each level. So like, you know, if you jump to a town, you'll always get a town there. Or if you jump to like I don't know, whatever else we make. We'll see. We'll see how far we get with this. But I think that is maybe a good place to leave it for now. Next stream, I do not know when the next stream will be, but at the latest it will be on Monday night, where I will be picking this back up again for a couple hours. Thanks everyone for coming. Lots of viewers today. In 2021, I'm just going to be doing Monday nights are going to be this, and Friday mornings will be Solidus stuff. If anyone is interested in Ruby on Rails e-commerce fun stuff, that's mostly for the Solidus community. I don't know how much overlap there's going to be with this the roguelike stream, but it is what it is. If anyone has things they want to see in the roguelike or anything, I'm sure I will be talking a ton about my ideas for it as we continue to build out pieces. But today was pretty successful. We got rendering to the terminal working as expected, accepting input, not that we're doing too much with it yet. And we also wrote or converted a reference pseudo random number generator from Rosetta code into Ruby so that we could use it, and wrote some tests for it. yeah, I'll be pushing this code up to GitHub shortly and making that repo public. And see y'all next time. Thanks for coming.